Denver has ever seen anything like it. I was reading a little history about Denver in 1920 or 25 in that area. They had a mayor who was a Ku Klux Klan outright member, who was a mayor of this city. And even someone told me in the days that it was a segregated city in the 30s and 40s and probably part of the 50s, and that black people couldn't go to certain hotels and so forth. But I don't think anyone in this city can say that they have seen anything to the likes of what has happened, where you have Ted Kennedy, who had brain surgery for his cancer, got up and spoke, where they introduced by Caroline Kennedy, where all of the major players and shakers in government and business have come out, and it's a testimony that the American people want to change. The young people, who they don't see Barack Obama as a black president, they see him someone who will bring them out of what they've been suffering from the last 8 years under the Bush administration. And this young black man now becomes the hope of all America. So I don't think that Denver has seen this before. I would hope that more people, and I know everybody is out moving around this evening as we're on this show, but those who are watching, I hope that more people would be encouraged to go to 5 Points. Is that the area they call it? And just go through the history. Denver's blessed with 2 black museums here, I understand. And but to go through the history of the struggle of black Denver. And one thing, I'm a straight ahead jazz buff. Straight ahead jazz means things like John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy and Dexter Gordon and people like that. But and Denver loves jazz. I went to your jazz station here, and I was amazed at the pictures that were in that station. It just all of the jazz greats, and they came through this city, and they played in this city. And then you have the distinction of having Diane Reeves, one of my favorite. I love female jazz singers, and she comes from Denver. So it is a historical moment in Denver right now. And I don't think anyone, you say you have never seen anything, I don't think Denver has ever seen anything. Then the beauty of the city. And my drive to Colorado Springs and just looking at the beauty of the landscape here is breathtaking. And Denver sitting right on the edge of those mountains. It's called this mile-high city. And we can feel it in the dryness when we're here. But it is a beautiful city, and it's alive. And there's so many events. When I get up in the morning, I go through my calendar, and I got to figure out which one am I going to, this one or that one, and missing this one and that one. You have to make the decision, so there's a lot going on. The only complaint that we have is that the restaurants close so early in this city. We can't believe it, and it shows you that it's a laid-back city, because most people would say keep that restaurant open 24 hours, but when it comes time to close, they close and get ready for another day.
They shut down. Now, the first article we want to deal with, Brother Akbar, and of course it deals directly with what's going on in the city, appears on page 4 of this edition of the Final Call newspaper, and I encourage all of our viewers to pick this up. You can pick it up at the Rocky Mountain Re-Education and Retraining Center at 3305 Downey, or at Supreme Style and the Black Experience at 7230 East Colfax. And this article reads, Obama heads to Denver for convention, and it's written by our wonderful brother Akbar Muhammad, senior correspondent who writes out of Washington, D.C., who happens to be in the city as well. And it's, Brother Akbar is a brilliant writer, and this is a wonderful article. I'm going to just read the first paragraph and then ask you to comment, Brother Akbar. It says, as the Democratic Party heads into its presidential nominating convention in Denver, August 25th, under the banner of party unity, quote, one nation, America is coming together for change, unquote. The campaign of presumptive nominee Senator Barack Obama appears flawed and weak in the view of some political scientists because of concessions made to the losing campaign of Senator Hillary Clinton and to former President Bill Clinton. So they're saying the campaign appears to be flawed and weak. What are your overall impressions over this?
Well, first of all, Skia, who is here in the city and also reporting for PFW, which is a radio station that goes to the issue. It's not bought and paid for by corporate dollars.
Yes, sir.
And they have the freedom to say what they feel. My overall feeling is that Barack, you know, when you're climbing a mountain like he's climbing, there's a rough side to that mountain. And he knows that there are people who would love to disrupt the campaign on the inside and the outside. And they're tapping into a sense of what they feel has not been shedded by many Americans, and that's the idea of race and a black man walking into the White House. So a lot of people are feeding on that with inside of the party. There's now Democrats for McCain,
Right.
knowing that where America's at, unless you want a continuation of the Bush's policy, then you vote for Cain. And most of Americans are really suffering through these 8 years of Bush and got us in 2 wars. And we're not doing well in either one. So when you read this article, I could say, and this is my paper, that I don't think the campaign is flawed, but we have to look at strategy. We have to look at what is best at this time, because the energy that it takes to bump heads with the Clintons, who thought it was a slam dunk and never thought a nondescript black man with a strange sounding name, with a father from Kenya and a mother from Middle Kansas, could come up and upset the institution of the Democratic Party and its foundation and the strength and the notoriety and the power of the Clintons and become the nominee of the party. They didn't think it could happen. And it surprised everyone. So in my opinion, and you know, I follow this, I mean, it's like something every day when I get up, I'm reading it. And I feel compelled to do it, because at my age, I didn't think that I would see this in my lifetime, and I hope that God would give me, until seeing him sworn in, I'd like to see that take place. But the only way that this can happen is that there must be the people coming together and voting and realizing that there's a whole set of circumstances. So the campaign being flawed may be Barack's handling of the Clintons, which we're not in the mind of Barack, and we can only see the end results. There's a Muslim saying that says that, how do you know right from wrong? The results, okay? If you do something wrong, you won't get the wrong results. If you do it right, you won't get the right results. So Barack, in his desire to keep the party welded together, to keep down the friction and the backbiting and people who fold their hands and sit at home and sit this one out because they don't agree with the choice of Barack being the nominee of the party. And so it may appear to be flawed because it is, but it may be a strategy that in the end will work for the good of Barack.
Yes, sir. And what you're speaking of sounds like really wise strategy and the wisdom that he has that we might not be able to see, you know what I mean, the fruits of that wisdom. Another thing that Brother Askia points out in regards to so-called flaws is, he writes, and the other flaw has to do with who will speak for blacks. I don't think that's been decided right now, and the proposal I'm making is that there be a Reverend Jesse Jackson or a Reverend Al Sharpton, somebody with a clear vision of the black community. And so we've had Brother Barack's wife, Michelle, speak yesterday, and I believe her brother is scheduled to speak at some point. I don't know if he did yesterday.
Brother, yeah, he introduced her.
Okay. So, but we don't have, you know, as the article points out, a Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or any other prominent black congressperson who is speaking at the convention. Is that a flaw, or do you think that's more along the lines of strategy?
I think that it could be seen as strategy. We don't know, because Ted Kenney wasn't scheduled to speak. Matter of fact, they said he wouldn't even be here. And at the last minute, they made some changes. But Al Sharpton made an excellent statement the other night for people who want to dismiss the civil rights struggle. He made a statement that, you know, I have my resume. This is a new generation. We're qualified. You know, we know how to do this thing. We know how to make it happen. And we also know how to rock the boat. And Al said that you may not say the civil rights have anything with you getting your jobs or position, but we have something to do. And you say you have your resume, and he said that, but the civil rights movement caused them to read your